God, my intro is always the hardest on these things, so I'm just gonna dive. Because here's what I would do if I was like talking to somebody. So the thing of it is that I sometimes get in conversations that, with friends and family and things that really help me understand sometimes what the consumer might be thinking about a topic. Today's topic is going to be about antique cars or project cars, cars that you have maybe in pieces. It can't even really be called a car in your mind yet. Whatever the case, we've seen it all. And that would be the situation where you have a garage, and in your garage perhaps you've been collecting some pieces from flea markets that you've scoured, because it can take a long time to find just the right parts to restore that car that you have your heart and soul in. And in your mind, maybe it's not even a car yet because it's simply in pieces in your garage, and it's not really even a vehicle. Maybe it doesn't even have an engine in it. And sometimes what we find in these cases is, interestingly, that there's a misconception out there about how these vehicles are covered. And that's what we're here today to clear up. So let's talk about it. So the problem is that some folks think that because that vehicle is in the garage of their home and they have a homeowner's policy, and in their mind, it might not even be called a car yet because it's just simply in pieces. They think that if something happens, it's going to be covered under the homeowner's policy. Maybe in their mind, they think it's personal property. This is a very common thing for an insurance consumer to think, because after all, if somebody's not out there helping you understand how it works, what do you have to go on, right? But what we want to talk about today is the fact that that is not how it works. So if you have all of that time invested in gathering all those parts for that car you're restoring, maybe it's partially restored, maybe it's still all in pieces, whatever the case, we really need to make sure that you're calling your insurance agent and understanding what is and isn't covered. So for the most part, the problem with this is the assumption, right? People think that they know how it's going to be covered and it's not. And then an unfortunate fire or theft or a tree falls on your garage, any of these things happen. And it is that moment that they learn that that vehicle was actually explicitly excluded from coverage under their homeowner's policy. And really what they would have needed, it actually is a fairly inexpensive, generally speaking, depending on the car and a few other things, fairly inexpensive policy that is designed for an antique auto. Now, we're not going to get into just what makes an antique auto, because honestly, at my age, sometimes it's a little hurtful. It's a little hurtful what they're calling antique already. So we're not going to go there. But basically, just think of that vehicle generally around 20 years old, depending on insurance companies and a few other things. But the bottom line is, if you have that project car out in your garage, all of the heart and soul that you've put into either the work you've already done or collecting the pieces, please be sure you call your agent. It is very unlikely that that is going to be automatically covered on your home policy or automatically covered in terms of a fire, theft, wind, any of these things. But if you just reach out to your agent, they can probably help you out. That's the thing of it for today. Thanks for stopping by.